We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network. With rising unemployment and an economy that continues to fail comes an increase in crime. Are you safe when you walk to your car? Are your kids safe when they go out? Everyone needs something to give that extra edge in case of an attack. You need DPS pepper spray from MrDefense.com. DPS is the strongest pepper spray on the market and is the same spray used by hundreds of law enforcement agencies from around the world. Need something more? The Stinger keychain is a great way to surprise a potential attacker. Mr. Defense carries the largest selection of stun guns, air tasers, knives, swords, batons, survival, spy, and tactical gear. Surprise your loved ones this Christmas with a gift of safety and security from MrDefense.com. Mention this ad and receive 10% off your order. Visit MrDefense.com. That's MRDefense.com or call 1-800-313-6400. That's 1-800-313-6400 today.
A day unlike any other in the long course of American history, a terrorist act of war against this country.
The enemy struck America on September 11th. But who is the enemy?
Bin Laden.
This is his MO.
We have to look to the Middle East. We have to look to Osama bin Laden.
Fabled Enemies is the first 9/11 film to take a close look at the terrorist ties to intelligence networks inside the United States.
Some U.S. investigators believe that there are Israelis again very much engaged in spying in and on the U.S.
I'm aware that some Israeli citizens have been detained.
Bin Laden's connections to the CIA, the hijackers' ties to the FBI, the Saudi Arabian connection, the Israeli intelligence network, warnings and war games, the shadow government, and much, much more. Fabled Enemies. Get the DVD at Infowars.com or see it in super high quality, along with hundreds of other titles at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Doctors around the world claim that cancer and other diseases cannot live in a pH-balanced alkaline environment. But as you know, most people are overly acidic due to stress, acidic diet, and lack of exercise. pH balance is the foundation of energy abundance and perfect health, as well as prevention of disease. People who alkalize the water they drink experience normalized blood sugar, mental clarity, and loss of weight. It was intended for human beings to drink alkaline water, but due to modern way of life, most people are overly acidic. The fact is that disease simply cannot exist in an alkaline environment. Fat accumulates if a person consumes too much acid on a regular basis and doesn't neutralize it. Do your part. Alkalize and supercharge your body now. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops contain a special mineral salt concentrate that raises the pH of the water you drink up to the pH of 10 with only 10 drops. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops now by going directly to alkavision.com. Again, that's alkavision.com.
We're going to go back to Robert Wanek here in just a moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mail 100 copies of Truth Rising, the preeminent 9/11 film out there showing the activist, the police in New York coming up and saying, your cameras are guns, and grabbing them. And then saying, we're going to charge you for having guns and bombs, for standing out front Larry Silverstein's New Building 7 and laying out the fact that it was blown up at an inside job. We have firefighters, police, emergency workers on tape saying the government blew it up. We have Silverstein saying they blew it up. I mean, that's just 5 minutes of the 2-hour film. But that's the perfect film. 100 copies. Robert, we're going to go back to you in a minute. I'm going to get your address. I'm going to mail you 100 copies of these. And it is your First Amendment right. Or what you can also do, if they try to violate your First Amendment, it's a gift. You're giving a gift. I know they've told you not to hand stuff out before. You've told us, saying it's political speech. Well, I mean, of course it's political speech. You know, campaigning. It's not campaigning. But you know, now they isolate with these campaign laws, but they're misusing that because there's no specific law on you giving out any material. You say no First Amendment, or if you want, we're going to go back to you in a minute. I just want to make this point. If you want, what you do is you start a student organization, and then they try to stop you there. You've got a major lawsuit. And I'd call it Students for Free Speech in the name of your school. And then they can't stop you from meeting after school. They can't stop you from meeting in the library or meeting somewhere else. They'll probably try to send provocateurs in, and then you can hand out those films, or you can get 10 of your friends to hand out 10 apiece, and then even videotape, handing those out. Or you can tell everybody, meet me out on the corner off the school property, because that's even better. Then they'll kind of come stop that, and we'll illustrate who they are. In America, something out of the Soviet Union, give them the 100 copies, but keep a few copies, buy a DVD burner, and burn copies of Truth Rising, and then that way it can be endless. And then get together with 10, 20 of your friends, recruit more people to where it's not just you having to pay to make copies of them, and then give everybody in the school a Truth Rising and explain to them that the government camp, when we're rebelling with the First Amendment inside the camp, that you're not going to go along with that. Now, before we go back to him, I want to tell the listeners out there, we can't give people 100 DVDs without support. I'm going to send you 100 9/11 was an inside job bumper stickers, and I'm going to peacefully to make excuses and to peacefully give people those in America, and I'm going to send you 100 Truth Rising DVDs. So we'll go back to you here in just a moment. I would ask the listeners to support us, to go to Infowars.com and buy Truth Rising, buy Endgame, buy Terror Storm, a history of government-sponsored terrorism. I also, I'm putting you on the spot, but check it during a break if you can. Give us the address for the school, the government training camp known as a school, the Federalization Center, the Brainwashing Center, so people can peacefully mail nice letters to the school with copies of my films or other films and material. That way, we can saturate the administration, who probably aren't evil people. They've been conditioned that this tyranny is okay. They've been conditioned that citizens speaking out and being involved is a bad thing. And for those that are doubting this, it's illegal under the federally written guidelines that schools have adopted and states have adopted, that when you're late to class 3 times in Austin, Texas, they arrest you. They tell you you're under arrest. They come pull you out of school. They have your parents come down. They bring you to a little courtroom in the schools. This is all over the country. Most schools have it, most school districts. And they tell you, okay, you have got truancy. You're a criminal. You're going to go to jail if you don't sign this. In a free country, they don't say you're going to jail if you don't sign this, because the truth is they couldn't send you to jail for being late to class. They're, again, twisting the truancy law, which is 14 unexcused absences in a semester in Texas. They call it the absent student assistance program in Austin. We sued them 10 years ago, and they had to back off for a while. This would be where the whole family has the flu. This happened to Mike Hansen. They're all sick on their backs in their beds. Mike Hansen then, knock, 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 within 2 hours of his children not being at school, instead of just calling and saying, where are your children, or a note, or asking for a note the next day, now they're there, banging. And they come to the door with the flu, and the cop goes, let me in, let me in. Your child's truant. He's like, what? And then they called more police, and then we went down and made a big deal out of it and found out they were stealing people's kids everywhere, and they had to back off a bit. The point is, it's lawless. Just like schools. Remember the Maryland case last year? It was on the news. Police dogs, 2,000 children outside a courthouse being injected. The judge out there saying it's the law. You have to take vaccinations. The people crying, saying, I don't want them. I hear they're bad for me. There was no law. I had the state prosecutor on and he was based in Prince George County. And he said, I don't vaccinate my kids. Yeah, you're right. It was no law. Yeah, you're right. We're using truancy laws. See, they say, oh, you haven't vaccinated, so you can't be in school. And then when they kick you out of school for not being vaccinated, they've made you truant. Then they charge you with truancy when there's no law. You had to have the shot, and they have to give you a waiver if you ask for it. So see, it's all color of law crime. It's very, very corrupt, very, very wicked. And you can't make this type stuff up. So we're going to go back to Robert here in just one moment, and I'm going to take calls specifically for our guests. So give me a new list, please, John, up in Minnesota, of callers that specifically want to talk to the guest. I'm sorry to the others that are holding from earlier, but oh hell, we'll take all your calls. The point is, I figure you want to hear a few comments directly, or what's happening in your child's school, or if you're a young person. I kind of need to clear the phone lines so young people can call in with their own stories briefly. We could do hours on this, but before I go back to our guest, I want to tell folks about mysolarbackup.com. The website's mysolarbackup.com. There's big banners up on Infowars.com and PrincipleBundit.com. A lot of things can cut off your electrical power: hurricanes, snow, ice, storms. Listeners should move towards getting off the grid or being self-sufficient. Here's a good way to do that. A solar power generator is now available from our longtime sponsor, Solutions from Science. It's designed to provide